Yeah, all the best, Neelam. Who is speaking? Neelam
Thank
only,
you.
right?
Yeah. So let me share my screen first. Then I will hand over the session to Neelam. So just give me a session. So please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, good. So let me close everything. Yeah, where is my presentation? I created one presentation. Let me check where it is that. Yeah, it's there. So guys, welcome to 24th Surat MuleSoft meetup. And in today's meetup, we will talk about how to integrate MuleSoft and the Salesforce. So Neelam will be speaking on what are the different design and integration pattern you can use to integrate Salesforce and the MuleSoft. And she will also show how to make use of Salesforce connector and how to receive the data from FTP and send to Salesforce. Like those kind of use cases will be showcased by Neelam in today's session. Okay, so organizer, myself Jitendra, and I have a role 13 years of experience in API and integration, and I am a MuleSoft ambassador and currently working as a solution architect or MuleSoft architect. Yeah, Nitish, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, Jackie. Thank you. Hi all. I'm Nitish. I'm working as application developer for IBM, and I have around going to be 3 years of experience, and I'm certified developer and integration architect.
Yeah. So
Welcome all.
yeah, the speaker for today's meetup is Neelam. Neelam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks. Hello everyone, I'm Neelam Deshmukh. I work at Epicero as an associate solution architect. I have overall 8+ years of experience in automation and integration. I'm MuleSoft certified developer and an integration architect. Recently, I am recognized as a MuleSoft mentor too.
Thanks, Neelam. So Neelam, you can take the session from here. Just I will unshare my screen and you can share your screen basically.
Sure.
Whose photos were that? I mean, it was too young, huh? Neelam, whose photos?
It was me, but currently I'm on maternity, so you may find that difference.
Okay.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Neelam.
Okay. So the presentation is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the agenda first. We will look at the prerequisites that we need for today's session. We'll start with what is Salesforce, its introduction, benefits, and few of its basic that is required to understand and remove the presentation for today's session. The next will be the MuleSoft Salesforce connector. We'll start with its overview, steps to install it in Anypoint Studio, authentication that goes with the connector, and configurations. At last, we will have the use cases where I will demo the design patterns, data migration, broadcast, and file transfer to Salesforce. So in the prerequisites, we will need Anypoint Studio and the Salesforce developer account. These two are needed to access the Salesforce resources. Salesforce security token, I will demo that in the coming slides. And let me show you how we can create the Salesforce developer account. So for creating this account, you can visit this site, developer.salesforce.com. Sign up here, it's free. Once sign up, you will get email with the credentials that are associated with your account. I've already created the one for me, so I won't be creating it again here. Okay, so let's start with what is Salesforce. To understand what is Salesforce, let's consider a scenario wherein a user gets an idea to manufacture or develop a product. So he wants to develop or manufacture a product. The next thing that bothers him will be how he can handle the product. So he start thinking on some questions like how he can sell the product, how he can manage the data, what he can use to get the data. Some questions like on how he can provide customer supports to the customer, how to get the potential customers. So he will need something which is designed to help him actually sell the product, to manage the data, or something which will help him to interact with the customer. A software, or rather than a software, we can say a platform where he can make use of the software and interact efficiently with the customer. The answer to his all questions is Salesforce. Salesforce will be his customer success platform, which will ensure all the interaction that happens with his consumer go efficiently and smoothly without any problems, or rather any issues. He can use Salesforce to secure his data. The data can be securely saved in Salesforce Cloud, and it has all the features that you need for the business to run smoothly. So in this image, you can see the Salesforce provides the fastest path once you get an idea, and you can develop your application. You can concentrate more on your application rather than focusing on the tools, what to use for development, and you can save a lot of your development efforts with Salesforce. Let's see some key benefits of Salesforce. As we first discussed, we can concentrate more on the application rather than building the infrastructure. We can seamlessly integrate any third-party apps with Salesforce using MuleSoft Salesforce connector. It's fast as compared to the traditional CRM software, easy as it is user-friendly, and effective because it is easy to use and can be customized to meet the business needs. I'm sorry. Okay, so few of the Salesforce basic here. It organizes data into objects and records. So what are these objects? Let me show you. Once you log into your Salesforce developer account, this is the homepage that you will be landed on. Here you can see opportunity, leads, task, files, accounts, and contacts. So these are the Salesforce object. So you can think of like a table in an SQL is like an object in Salesforce. A record is like a row, and a column is like a field in Salesforce. So few of the Salesforce objects are like account, contacts, lead, opportunities. You can also create your own custom objects. Okay, so let's start with the MuleSoft Salesforce connector. This is the MuleSoft Salesforce connector available in Anypoint Exchange. This is the logo for the connector. With this connector, you can directly connect with the Salesforce API and access full of its functionality. You don't have to write any piece of code to connect with the Salesforce APIs. And it's capable of performing almost all of the operations exposed by the Salesforce API. Okay, so connected experience is something which a customer demands. So with this connector, you can create instant connectivity between Salesforce and popular ERP systems. And with the Salesforce connector, you can connect directly to the Salesforce APIs without any need to write any piece of code. So few of the key features for any questions till now? Okay.
Have any questions like on Salesforce? Okay, so Neelam, you can go.
Okay, so Jackie, you can, yes.
Yes, somebody is asking something, right?
Yeah.
I just want to ask one question. Like, what are the benefits of connector over Salesforce APIs?
So you can create your own app using this MuleSoft Salesforce connector, and you can access its operations basically.
So most of the operations and objects are also exposed as in the Salesforce REST APIs or SOAP APIs. Right?
Exactly.
So in which case clients prefer using the connector over the APIs? Because I think connector comes over with the cost.
Connector comes with, sorry?
It has a cost, right? It's not free.
It is available in Exchange.
Okay.
Let me answer. See, basically, this Salesforce connector is a free connector, right? So you don't have to pay anything. If you have a MuleSoft Enterprise license, right? So you can get the Salesforce connector. I will give some advantage why we want to go with the Salesforce connector. Let's consider if you are connecting with directly REST API of Salesforce, right? So you should know like what is the request format, what is the response, like what are the different parameters needs to be taken care when you are calling the REST API, right? So you have to build all those things. So what MuleSoft doing? MuleSoft is directly providing you connector. Okay, so that connector, like whenever you put the transform message in the front of connector or in the like at the end of the connector, so you will see the metadata, right? So the schemas and everything will automatically generated. You have to just do the like it also provide the like configuration where you can easily do the authentication configuration for OAuth, like for basic authentication for OAuth with password. So those kind of things you can easily set up, right? If you are consuming a REST API, you have to write some custom codes, like for let's consider for OAuth. So you may have to like you have to manage the tokens and all those things has to be taken care by you, right? So that's why the connector like is the preferred solution over the REST API basically. Is this answer your question, Nia?
Yes. So does it take care of like when we call REST API? So there is an option of calling Salesforce composite APIs as well.
Yeah. So composite API, it's a different, altogether a different connector, Salesforce composite connector, right? So it's altogether a separate connector provided by MuleSoft. So even like there are REST APIs for Salesforce composite connector basically. So they are already available, but with composite connector, like if you want to like update, see accounts, like accounts can have a multiple context, right? So if you want to create accounts and contacts within the same request, right, you can send a multiple request, like multiple object, you can update the multiple object using a Salesforce composite connector. So those kind of things you can perform with Salesforce composite connector basically.
So just to add on here, in the Anypoint platform, you can create a free trial account and you will get this free of cost. And when you say Salesforce Composite Connector, so Salesforce Composite Connector basically supports the REST APIs. And with this Salesforce Connector, you can get SOAP, REST, bulk metadata, and streaming API support.
Yeah, that's my question. Thank you, Neelam.
Yep.
Hi, Neelam. Aniket here.
Yeah, Aniket.
That object part you were telling in Salesforce, can you explain again? I'm new to Salesforce.
Okay. So here we have few of the default objects in Salesforce. You can also create your own. So do you know SQL?
I know.
Okay. So just like an SQL table, we have the objects, Salesforce objects. You can consider the SQL table as an object in Salesforce.
Okay, so each object here will represent that SQL table that we create.
Yes, you can visualize that.
Okay. So inside that objects, what all we can add any number of columns we want.
Yes. So what happened? Let me show you a few of the records that I have by default. So here in the table, I have this rows. So these are basically a record, one record. So a record is like one row in your table. And it has the metadata structure defined. So here you can see account name, account site, billing, phone, type. So these are the fields that goes for that table.
Okay, got it.
Understand?
Yes.
And a few extra things, right? I wanted to add, like you can generate on the fly fields over here. You can calculate the based on other objects. Values you can generate these. So basically it's like a foreign key in terms of database, right? So there is a relations, right? Parent-child relations. That also you can build on the fly over here. And since it is a UI, right? You can create a custom fields inside it, okay? So here you can connect objects like opportunities, lead, and account you have over here, right? Then based on the account value, you can generate fields inside your opportunities, lead, and you can connect other way also. So there are a lot of visibility here. And just like our SQL, right? Here in Salesforce, we have SOQL, okay? Just like that, you can run the query over. But you cannot run the blind queries over here. Blind, I mean, select star from table, right? That is not possible in Salesforce because it's a cloud multi-tenant environment. So you need to give some condition over there. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the results.
Okay, Ashish, got it.
Yeah, you can edit here.
Guys, one
edit the
more thing,
fields.
like, so basically there is a workbench. So like SQL provide a console to write a queries, right? So Salesforce also provide the online console, that is the workbench where you can write the queries, right? So I will just share the link with you guys. You can use that. So Neelam, you can continue now. So like,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks Neelam for like answering.
Yep.
Hey,
No issues.
I'm really sorry. One last question, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Uh, so we are talking about the Salesforce connector, right? So instead of calling API, we are leveraging the Salesforce connector. But still, we need to pass, like, we need to know how the Salesforce API is exposed, right? Like, how can we, we need to authenticate ourselves and then.
So it's like we
Like,
don't have to bother about how the authentication process goes. We just need to drag and drop the operations that we are interested in.
yeah, but how do our app or ourselves get identified with?
So you have
Salesforce?
the Salesforce developer account created. So with your account, the operations will be executed, the configuration basically that you give.
Okay, even if I configure the Salesforce account, like I need to somehow get authenticated and get an access token, right? Like that's how OAuth is implemented.
Yes, for OAuth, if you're using the OAuth configuration, then yes.
So do we have that option?
Vijay, while configuring the Salesforce connector, it provides the multiple options for enabling the authentication, like what kind of authentication you need to use for your Salesforce connector. So basically there are 4 options. One is basic authentication, one is OAuth JWT, one is OAuth with password, and one is OAuth authorization code. So there are 4 kind of authentication. So like, let's consider if you select the basic authentication. In basic authentication, you have to pass 3 things. One is username, one is password, one is security token, right? So simple.
Jackie, we are going to see that in the coming slides.
Okay, yeah. So like, Vijay, can you wait
Sorry,
for some
please
time?
go ahead,
Like,
Neelam.
Vijay, can you wait for
Sorry,
some
my
time?
bad.
Neelam
Please
will
go.
show in demo, like how.
Sure, yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So for the connector, first thing that comes is the authentication and the session management support. So here you don't have to worry about how the process goes. The connector will handle the authentication and session management, and it will take care of the authentication for you. It supports SOAP, REST, bulk, metadata, and streaming APIs. So with the bulk API, you can load bulk data to Salesforce. And here the important feature is that streaming API. With the streaming API, we can enable the event-driven architecture. Basically, it controls how the event data is propagated, or even it also supports the replay capabilities in case if any of the data is failed in downstream system. So we can get that using this. So for today's demo, we won't be focusing on this, but yes, it is important. It has a great feature, streaming API. Because of time constraint, maybe in the next session we can have a look on this streaming API. It supports Apex classes, which is a native programming language, a Salesforce native programming language, using SOAP and REST API. We can access the Salesforce data using the Salesforce operations, and we can create, retrieve, update, and delete any Salesforce hosted data. So these are few of the key features. Okay, how to install it? Let me move to the studio. So in the Mule palette, you won't be getting it by default. You need to search it in Exchange. Search for Salesforce connector here. So this is the one. Add it in this section and click finish. Since I've already added, I will click on cancel. And you can see the list of operations that this connector supports. Okay, so we have 5 connection types for this connector. Basic authentication, which uses the username password for authentication. So this will be the Salesforce username and password for your account. OAuth 2. For this, we will need to create a connected app, which is a framework that Salesforce uses to connect with external application. The JWT, OAuth 2 JWT, OAuth 2 SAML, username and password. So for this, is similar to OAuth 2 configuration, and we will need the key store and key store files to be created for this. You can get the step for this 3 in MuleSoft documentation. It's easy. So I will be demoing this too today, basic OAuth and OAuth 2. So let me move to the studio. I've created 2 configurations here, basic and OAuth. Let's see the basic configuration. In the configuration, we need to pass username, password, and the security token. This will be the Salesforce username, Salesforce password, and how to get this. In your account, Salesforce developer account, click on setting, view profile, click on settings. Under my personal information, you will get this reset my security token. Click here, you will get the token to the email associated with your account. I have already created, so I won't be clicking here. You can provide that token in this configuration and click on test connection. So that's it for the basic authentication. It's easy to implement. For OAuth, we need to give some extra credentials. These are the consumer key, consumer secret, authorization URL, and access token URL. So this too we can get from the connected app in Salesforce. And authorization URL and token will be the same, which is shown. The only difference here will be you need to provide the instance of your developer account here, which you can get from the account. So once you log in, you can see here, this is the instance of your Salesforce developer account. You can use it in the configuration for OAuth. This is the callback path, authorized path, and the callback URL. This is something which we will configure while creating the connected app. Let me show you how we can create the connected app. So for connected app, what we have to do is click on setup. Under platform tools, click on apps, app manager, new connected app. Let me give. You have to give the connected app name, email, enable the OAuth settings here, copy the OAuth scopes, add it here. That's it. Click on save. So here it states that it will take 10 minutes for the app to get effective. Generally, it won't take that much time. Click on continue. Okay, I didn't give the callback URL. So here, this you can provide like HTTP localhost. Port number. I will say callback here. And miss the colon here. Yeah, the connected app is created. You can get the consumer key, copy it from here, and consumer secret from here. This callback URL will be the same that we need to configure in external callback URL. So what happens here is once the application is deployed, you need to hit this authorized URL, which will actually start the OAuth downs for you, and you will be landed to the Salesforce login account. So just log in there and click allow the access to the callback path. So what will happen here is the authorization code will be sent to this callback path. So once that is done, the token will be retrieved and you can use this configuration. Let me try to hit this. I'm just trying to deploy the application. Okay, so meanwhile, let me continue the presentation. Okay, so here we already saw we need the username, password, security token. So these are the steps for getting the security token from your Salesforce developer account. And in the OAuth configuration, we need this: consumer key, secret, authorization URL, access token URL, callback path, authorized path, and external callback URL. The steps to create the connected app.
Neelam, this connected apps and callback, what it is?
So connected app is a Salesforce framework. So it uses that to connect the external applications with the Salesforce API.
So directly we can't connect Salesforce with MuleSoft. We create one connected app, then connect that app to MuleSoft, right?
Yeah, for OAuth configuration, we need to do that because it uses the callback framework.
Okay, and what is callback?
Connected app.
Okay.
The one that I just demoed. One sec, I'll show you. So once you create this app, it's like it will behave like a framework which the Salesforce uses, and the external application gets integrated with Salesforce using this. So you can think of it like a OAuth provider. This connected app is just like an OAuth provider by Salesforce.
So basically, this is the one that's going to authenticate your the MuleSoft application.
Yeah, and with the connected app, you can restrict the access. If you directly use username, password, and the security token, you'll get complete access to your Salesforce. With the connected app, you can restrict the access. Okay, for example, it's like a connected apps here, MuleSoft. If you go there and you see, if you wanted to give restricted access to your Salesforce, then connected app is the answer to that. Okay, instead of directly connecting, you can connect to Salesforce with a limited access.
Got it. Yeah. Hi. From my question is, so here they provided configured as localhost 8081/callback. So when in real time, how it will work? Because I deployed my service to in CloudUp, so where I do not have localhost. So in that case, how I can retrieve that OAuth code, as well as each and every time we are here doing manually to retrieve that authorized URL you are hitting, right? So that how can I automate it without manual intervention?
So this you can provide this domain can be yours, the one that you have for the client one, you can say. For demo purpose, I have used localhost, and this you have to do once to retrieve the authorization code. So once you retrieve this, you will receive some message like successfully retrieved access token. So this won't be the multiple times you won't have to get this token.
Yeah, so I need to make HTTP request call to this authorized path, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can add, who is this? Vivek, right? Vivek, so
Yes.
basically when you deploy your application first time to CloudHub, right? Or to any instance of MuleSoft, right? So you have to initiate the OAuth dance for one time. Like you don't have to do every time. Okay. So you have to do for every, if some client is consuming that API, he doesn't have to do every time. So once you deploy your application, you have to do for once, okay, then you forget it. You don't have to do every time. Once you authorize that OAuth dance, right, after that you don't have to do that. Everything will be taken care by that Salesforce connector. So you don't have to generate token every time. You don't have to generate the authorization code every time. You don't have to do that. Will be taken care internally, basically. Okay. Then somebody asked me question what is the use of authorized URL? So authorized URL where Salesforce will send a code, basically, or authorized code, basically, right? So there is a one step where we generate the authorization code. Once we generate the authorization code, then we generate the token, right? So that all step will be taken care by the MuleSoft Salesforce connector. We don't have to worry about it. Then you ask one question where now we are giving the local host, right? When you deploy our application to Cloud Hub, so you will have a shared load balancer URL, right? So you can use that shared load balancer URL once you deploy application on port 8081, right? So you can use that shared load balancer URL slash authorize to initiate the OAuth dance. So that is what you have to do.
Yeah, let's say I done the OAuth thus one time. So till how much is there any limitation, like 3 hours or 4 hours it is active? Then I need to do again this OAuth dance. So
I think once you do the redeployment or something like that, right? During that period,
yeah.
apart from like application, you don't have to do again and again. You have to just do once basically. Okay, so you are authorizing your connect, or you are like you are getting authorization with your Salesforce. That's you have to do one time. You don't have to do every time, like Vivek.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like once you have started the application and your application is running, you don't have to do it again. But if your application is not running and you're restarting it, then you will have to do it.
Thank you.
So this is the message that we get for OAuth configuration once the access token is retrieved, and you can use that configuration. Let's start with today's use case. Okay, so first is the data migration design pattern. So this is something that happens when we have a specific set of data located on one system, and what we have to do is we have to put that data to another system. So in today's demo, what I will do is I will try to move the data from Salesforce to my local system. Let's look at the mule flow. So this is the mule flow. Here I'm making use of the onNewObject operation. You can get it from the mule palette. This is the one onNewObject. So with this connector, what happens here is whenever the user adds any new object in Salesforce account, it listens and it initiates your application. So this is what the connector does. So in my flow, what it will do is whenever I'm making use of an account object here, whenever I add any record in the account object, this flow gets initiated and I will try to read that record into my system. I will write that into a file. Let's see the configuration here, what this connector has. So in the connector configuration, I'm using the Salesforce basic config. You can use any OAuth and basic. Object type, I'm making use of account, but you can see the list of objects that it supports. This is the sys field. This field can be empty, but if it is empty, what happens is if you are adding a record and your mule app has not started, it is just getting started, then it will not pick up your record. So as a standard practice, I try to give this field. You will have to mention the date here. It will be in the format YYMMDD HHMMSS. So I have specified a date here. The scheduling strategy, it can be fixed or cron job. You can specify any cron job here. I've given the frequency as 20 seconds, delay as 0, and time unit is milliseconds. That's it, which is by default. Then I'm trying to map the payload that this connector returns, and I'm just using these 3 fields: account, state, and city, billing city. In the transform message, I'm mapping it to the JSON response. I'm using the write operation here from the file config. And what I will do is I will try to write the payload that this connector returns into a CSV file. Okay. So where it will create the file, this is the source main resource. So under source main resource, I have created one folder, migrated data. It is empty currently. Once I will run this, once I will create a new object on account, this flow will get initiated and a new file is created here under this folder, migrated data, which will have these 3 things. And at the end, I am just logging the payload here. Okay, it's deployed. Let me clear this. Let's try to create a record in account object. experience. I'm creating a new one to test. Okay, the account is created. Let's see. Yeah. So this flow gets initiated and this is the payload which I have locked. Let's see in this, let me try to refresh this. Yes. So what happened here is I have created a new object, a new record in Salesforce, which has been migrated from Salesforce to my system, which I have wrote in a file. Let me open this. So this is the account name, state and city, test MHN Pune, which we gave in the record while creating that. So this is a very common use case which any developer has already used. This is how we can achieve it using the Salesforce connector. Any question in this flow?
Neil,
Okay.
so let me ask. So would it pick updated record also?
No, for that we have another connector on modified object. You can make use of this. So this connector will initiate whenever a new object is created, and if an existing record is modified, for that you can use this. So on modified object will be initiated whenever an existing record is modified.
Okay. The second question, is it durable consuming feature, this scenes field here? Scenes
Sorry?
field, like you mentioned one scenes field.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes. This
is
one.
it durable, like is it durable consuming feature? Go
Yeah,
to,
you
can you
can.
just, yeah, you got the
Yeah.
question, right, Neelam?
Yeah, you can keep this as empty, but just as a practice, I prefer to give this.
So basically this means like it will start picking like record which is updated from this particular time, right?
Yeah, once your Mule application has started and you have created it, then you can this will flow will get initiated and it will start picking the records.
For delta record, do we need to use objects to get the last updated date time from account object?
Actually, in the configuration, you don't have to give any objects to, because in the runtime it will by default have it objects to. So even if you don't specify in the configuration, it will take it.
See, Satya, like I will give one, like I will add something, basically if you are using the batch processing and if you are not using the on new object or on modified object, if you are using the directly Salesforce connector operation, like create operation or whatever, right? In that case, you may have to use the object store to, like first you can select object store to like store the last modified or last picked up record, right? And later, like once again you run the query, you can just compare with if any update had happened after this particular date and time, right? So then you can pick that record, then you can again update the object store. So yeah, so but whatever like Neelam has shown, for that you don't have to store the object store. But if you are picking the record in the middle of flow or something like that, you need to use the object store, right, Neelam?
Yes.
So yes, the question is, how can we avoid getting duplicate record using on new object?
So this flow is something like it will get the records once a record is created. So now even if I am creating a new one here, let's demo that also. It's taking it. Let me create a new one. See what message it gave. Similar record exists. So here only it won't allow us. Does that answer the question? Who has raised it?
So Praveen, like yeah. So here like this is completely like if anything is created new in the Salesforce, this particular connector will pick that, right? But Salesforce itself have a feature, it will not allow the duplication inside, like it will not allow to add the duplicate record, right? The Salesforce itself have a feature. So it means like it will not pick the duplicate record from the Salesforce. The other question is like, have idempotent filter in your flow? No, right? So right now we can. Yeah. So there's one more question. Let's say I have marked scenes field as a 0101/22, and my application keep running for 6 months, and my flow will get all legacy data. In this case, like migration data which has already migrated.
So it will try to it will try to retrieve the data which has recently been created. Even if you gave the data as 1/1/2021, if you see, I have specified the data as 29.
Do one thing, okay? Go to Salesforce and create new record. Let's see whether it's picking both the records or only the last created record. That will be the answer to the question.
Okay. So this is picked.
Answer C. So it's picking the last, created record. So somewhere it's, keeping the state of the last process record.
Yeah, that is true. So Neelam, other question, like in case if application got restarted, what will happen? Like whether it will start again picking all the records, or like it will wait for on like new record only, right? So it will wait for new record only.
Yes, it will wait for new records.
It will, like, even application restart or crashes, like in that case it will not start picking the old records, right, Neelam?
Yes.
Okay. So Melvin, is this answer your question? Yeah. So other question, I think the listener capture the record creation events only when it is running. Correct. You are right. Like, so it's kind of event based basically. So it's kind of event based, correct? So anything happen, anything get created in Salesforce, it will push, like, that particular on modify on create object or new object will pick the record basically from Salesforce. Yeah. My question is not about duplicate, more about can we avoid getting the same records every time? Praveen, like, yeah, Neelam, go on.
So it's like it won't allow you to create the same records in Salesforce itself. So how it will receive it, the on new object operation, Praveen?
And Praveen, why you are saying like it will fetch the same record? Like Neelam already shown the demo, right? It is not fetching the same record. Like the scenes date is only used for the first time when you restart the application. From next time the scenes will not be not used, right, Neelam? This is for first time, right?
First time, yes. And in the Salesforce developer account itself, it is restricting us to create the duplicate records. Is that answering you, Praveen? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I think. So if we create a bulk record, will it migrate it one by one, or it will be migrated in bulk?
It will migrate bulk. So for that we have a upsert operator. Here we can make use of this upsert for bulk insert.
Okay. No, he's asking like.
No, sorry. Yes, for bulk now there is one more.
So there is a no bulk upsert first of all. Like
yes, yeah. Upsert is different one. My bad.
So Ashok, like simple thing, like if anything getting created in Salesforce, like if you 100 record created, so it will like there will be 100 record coming to that particular listener on new object. And it will create it one by one only. It will be not in bulk, right? On new create, right? On new listener, basically, right, Neelam?
Yes. So see, there was one operation.
Yeah, batch operation is there.
So what we can do is in the FTP to Salesforce now, I will be inserting bulk record, contact records from a file. So there you can see how it is inserting the bulk records.
Ashok, like she will show demo to you. Okay, so like let's wait for some time. What if error occurs in the flow? We need to reprocess the record.
Which flow? In this flow?
Yeah. So
you can handle it in the error handling. You can handle it.
Yeah, so Praveen, like you can enable like reliable delivery or persistent delivery, like in case like something goes wrong, so you can store message somewhere, like you have to take care at a error handling level, like how you want to do that. Once you get the record, and if something goes wrong, like Salesforce cannot do anything. Yeah, you can go ahead, like Neelam. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we have answered all.
So next is the broadcast pattern. So in this pattern, what you will need a single source system, and we will have a multiple destination system. So for us, the single source system will be the Salesforce. And what I will do is I will try to move the Salesforce record to multiple files. So since I don't have multiple systems currently to demo, what I will do is I will try to process two files in my system. So it's like inserting the data to two different processors. Let me show you the MuleFlow. Yeah. So for that, I am making use of onModified object. So this connector will get initiated whenever an existing record is modified. I'm making use of the lead object here from broadcast flow. Rest all configuration is same, just like on new object, since the only difference will be the object type lead, and rest all I have kept the same. In the response, the fields will be different here this time because of the object type, different object type, lead one. So I'm mapping first name, last name, company, and email, and I will try to write this 4 fields in my CSV. I'm making use of scattergather to parallelly process these 2 files. So think of this 2 as a 2 processors, 2 systems, and lastly, I will be logging the response. Let me see if I have a lead record existing. Yeah, I have. Let me try to edit this. So once I modify this, the flow will get triggered and we will get the 2 processor files under this path, broadcast data processor 1. So these are the 2 folders which I've already created. Currently those are empty. Once the flow gets triggered, it will have 2 files with the name lead_data.csv. Let me try to clear. Console is cleared. I will try to add the email here. Yes. Try to refresh this. We can see 2 files are added. And the data that goes is first name, last name, company, and the email. So what you can do is you can think of like, suppose you have one central office and there is some change in any product and you want to broadcast that to multiple stores around. So you can use of this pattern, broadcast flow. So one change will be broadcasted to multiple destination systems. Any questions? You can use the error handling here in the scattergather. So what happens here is in the scattergather, 2 processes will be processed parallelly. And at the end, it will give you the combined result. Does that answer? You can make use of the try-catch also here. Yes, try-catch can also be used.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. You have answered that, right?
Okay, let's move ahead. We are running out of time.
Neelam, there is one more question. That's fine. Like, time is not an issue. So
okay, why the connector is termed as broadcast? The connector is not termed as broadcast. Basically, I have named the flow as broadcast. So what I wanted to demonstrate here is with the single source, you can process the record to multiple systems. Okay. I'm just named it as broadcasting led data change. more question. Is used in publish and subscriber. Yes, yes, it can be used.
So guys, like broadcast, migration, this is not a connector name. These are the Salesforce integration pattern.
Design patterns.
Yeah. If you go to Anypoint Exchange, right, you will find the templates for all these patterns like broadcast, migration, you know, so like synchronous patterns, asynchronous pattern, those kind of patterns, like all you can find the templates in Anypoint Exchange. You can go to Anypoint Exchange and search for broadcast, Salesforce broadcast. You will get a ready-made template, so you can start that template as an initial point like that. Yeah, Neelam, you can.
Yeah, so somebody asked whether reconnection has been supported by this connector. So yes, in the configuration, you can give the reconnection. You can give the reconnection strategy here. You can enable it. Sample led one with status included as a second type update. That time also receives data. I didn't got this question, Swaminathan. Can you elaborate? Okay, so do you mean to say that if I again edit the record, the existing one, will it pick it, right? Is that the question? Okay, yes, it will pick. Let me demo that. Suppose I'm editing this. Open, let me clear the console again. See, the two files will be processed again. You get that. Does that answers? Can we use a query connector for insert update? Yes, 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 you can. There are multiple options you have here. You can explore it. We have a query operator, create, you can use it. Just for the demo purpose, I have made use of on modified on new object. You save again with any changes, without any changes. It won't allow me to save, right? Without any changes. I have to make some changes. So you mean to say again I have to select this? It won't allow me to save, Swami. What will happen if the processing time is more than the frequency set will processor run in parallel? Ramaswamy, do you mean frequency set by the frequency set? Do you mean this one frequency, the one that we have set here? Is more than the frequency set will process run in parallel. See what happens here is this frequency is being used for the Salesforce object that has been modified. That doesn't have to do with this coil. Nothing have to do with this scatter gather here. It's internal to SFTC that it won't allow you to save without pick up the records based on time frame. Yes, Vishnu. If we stop the server and run again, it will pick it again. Considering we have modified something in that record. No hardly how to get the gather. Please see final output of scatter. Yes. So this is the output that we get from the scatter gather.
Yeah, Neelam, can we move ahead, because like some audience is asking to move. Can we move on, please?
So Jackie, in case of question, just let me know because I won't be seeing the chat now.
Yeah, we can take it at the end basically.
Sure. So last pattern is the FTP design pattern, where what I will do is I have a CSV file created. I will try to move that file data to Salesforce. So for that, I'm making use of contact object. Yeah. So in this flow, what I will do is I am making use of a new or updated file connector. So whenever a new file or update, an existing file is updated in this contact folder, this flow will get triggered, and I'm mapping the data here. So I am making use of this CSV file. I have this data, first name, last name, and phone number. I have 4 records here. And I'm using this upsert operation. The reason for using upsert is if the contact is already being present, it will just update it. It won't be creating the another data for this record. So I'm using the upsert. I'm just mapping the payload to JSON and logging it here. So the 4 records will be inserted in the contact object into Salesforce once the flow gets triggered. And for getting the flow triggered, what I will do is I will try to add a new file to this contact folder. Yeah. Let me clear this. Yeah, you can see. In case of errors, it will give the errors. For successful, it is giving true. Let us check the contact. So those are the one A, B, C, D, E, G, H, I. You can check the created date as well. It's today's modified and created date. So now what's happening is, if you see, since the file is still located in that folder, the flow is getting on triggered. But this time you will get the duplicate records message here. And it won't be inserting the same records again and again. There will be only one record for ABC. This one. Any question? That's it from my side. Let me try to.
There are a few questions in the slides, like in the chat box. Okay. You can take it.
Yeah, 1 sec. Let me try to move this because it will keep on running. Is there any limit to bulk insert update using Salesforce connector? I don't think so. There is any limit. Any about resource and Salesforce connector apart from MuleSoft documentation? Actually, you can use the Salesforce Threadhead. It is also a good experience platform, learning experience platform. You can visit Trailhead.com. Sandeep, I am not sure whether we can upsert only 200 records. I think there won't be that much limit. Jackie, any idea on the limit that we can insert?
Not using the bulk API, right? You can you can insert up to 200 record at a time in single object. Basically, even you can upsert 200 record. You are right, Sandeep. So basically, if you are not using the bulk connector, right? you can use up to like you can insert or you can delete or you can update up to 200 record, not more than that. And unfortunately for upset, we don't have a bulk upset operation.
We need to split into batches of 200. Okay.
Correct.
Was the use of sense field in your first demo has its own event processor to provide any future time? What will be the behavior? So sense is just like you should not miss the record that have been created between the time your mule application is started and the record has been created. You can also give it as empty. Somnath. If you provide the future date and time, it will not, the flow won't get initiated. Is the Salesforce connector support streaming? Yes, it does support. Or only streaming APIs should be used. No, we have an option here. We have the operations here for streaming, publish streaming channel, publish topic. We can make use of this. Way to receive updated data with filter condition. Embedding with email is not equal to null. Yes, you can use the filter condition. That is completely on your requirement and the flow that you have to design.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other question before like we start with quiz? You know. If we have an object relationship of a child and parent, so it will pick the child object along with parent if we update parent. I don't think, right? So with Salesforce connector, you cannot do that. With Salesforce composite connector, you can do that.
Yes, for child and parent, I think Salesforce composite is the best option to use for such relationships.
Okay. So guys, we will
stop. Yeah.
So thanks Neelam for the great session on the Salesforce. Like we have a huge amount of people participate in today's meetup. So I think we have around 120 check-ins in the meetup. So it was great. I think it's one of the highest number of check-ins happened today. Like in last we have conducted around 24 meetups, and it is one of the highest check-ins. So
thanks Jackie. Actually, thanks Jackie for having me here and giving me this opportunity to present in front of such a wonderful audience.
Yeah, thank you. So it was great session. Like it is not easy to give the session in the front of like more than 100 people, but I will say I appreciate your efforts, and it was a great session, and we are looking forward to be here. We are looking you to give a more session on Salesforce in future, like streaming APIs and all those things. Like, so we will set up some session with Salesforce streaming API, so you can be speaker there again.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it was a great session. So, and yeah. Neelam, you want to say anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. So today, so every day we select 3 winners, but today, we will select 4 winners because we have a good counts. So apart from that, unfortunately, a count is not working today. So we will.
Jackie, sorry to interrupt. We got it.
We got it. So
yeah.
Thanks, Nitish. So Nitish, you can share your screen now, and that is good news. Like count is good. Like people have. So we will select 4 winners, Nitish, today. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So Nitish, you can start with your part.
Yeah. Just a moment. I'm starting. Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'm sharing my screen. Just confirm me once. Okay. Jackie, can you please confirm me if my screen is visible? Okay. Okay, here I'm giving the URL. So it's like, I'll just give a small demo how it works. So you'll get a like you need to use two screens, one to see the question and options, and other to select the options. So it will be like you'll have a question over here, you have the options over here. There'll be a time limit of 10 seconds to give the answer, and from the second screen you need to choose the correct color of an option. And this is not a game pin, so I'm just
So can
sorry.
we do, I mean, one from mobile, one from
Yes, yes. Yeah. So this is a game pin.
We'll close this at 1:13. So you have 2 minutes. So I like we'll close at 1:14. Let's give 3 minutes. Guys, please provide the feedback after this meetup. So it is very important for us. So like so to improve in the future. So please provide the feedback. More minute before we close it, lock the game. So we still have 2-3 people missing.
So count goes only to till 70. I guess we have a lot more people.
No, I think most of the people drop like like
Okay.
like around 30-40 people already dropped just now. Like there are
Okay.
like
Okay.
so I think we are good to lock the game. I think,
Sure, Jackie.
or give her more 1 minute. Let's before we log.
Sure.
People should not
Sure.
like. There might be people
Right.
like. See, some people are already coming out. Like it was 17, it becomes 68. Let's give 1 more minute.
Sure. I guess because of these virtual meetups these days, people has lots of vouchers already.
Correct. Guys, you should use full name LP PRI. Like we will not consider this name. IP.
Yeah. CP. I hope he's not the same person using from different machines.
This may also happen. Like sometime if you have attained a 74 and you can see the count equals to 75 here, so we can lock the game now.
Okay, sure. Sure, Jackie, I'm going. Okay, all the best, guys. Game is locked. No one can else join. starting the game. So it's a easy question and still okay. Maybe quick response. Okay, let's see who's on the podium. Oh ho ho. Okay. So Vidya, Nitin, and Shweta. Okay, this one's also easy. Okay, a bit confusion. 5 and 4. Okay. So Nitin, Shweta, and Suvidya. Okay, same. Hmm. Okay, so we have new names on podium: Shweta, Pawan, and Raghuram. Guys, you still have chance to come up. Okay. Close. Am I audible?
Nitin.
Okay, okay. 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 So Shweta, Pawan, and Melvin, and Suvidya. Last question. Great. So let's see who's on fourth. Okay, Suvidya. So congratulations, guys.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Can everybody ping their email ID?
Yeah.
So I can quickly send the vouchers right now.
Yeah. So Suvidya, you also need to share your email because today we are announcing 4. Right, Jackie?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Jackie, you took the screenshot. I'm changing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Have you? Okay. Can you just share once again? I lost that.
Okay. Okay. Just a second, I guess. Back to podium. Okay. I hope name don't get changes.
This will never happen.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I took now.
Okay, sure. Guys, if you can on your cameras.
Guys, everybody can on their camera.
Hi Vandan, hi Ashish, hi Shweta, hi Rajesh.
And Tushar.
Just a minute. I'm just collecting the email ID.
Melvin, you are saying something not able to on. Okay. Let me check if I can
Neelam,
see.
can you ping your email ID also?
Did you said that to me, Jackie?
Yeah. Can
Yes,
you ping
yes,
your email,
Neelam.
because you will also getting one voucher.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Obviously, sure shot voucher for you.
Without answering any question.
Yes. So any nominations for upcoming meetups? For sure shot vouchers. You'll have a training and exam voucher.
Neelam,
You
can you
need
ping
not
your
to
email
ask
ID?
anyone.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it.
Congrats all winners and Neelam. It was a great session today.
Thank you.
And lots of like bulk questions.
Audience.
Hey, hi Melvin. Hi Hari Babu. Hi Ashish. Okay. So any more thing?
Just a minute.
Because it's Saturday, so we all have some work. Right. Jackie, we can't see you.
Okay, you want to see me?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. So just I'm sending mail. So everybody should receive the mail with all these vouchers and yeah. Let me